It's a common misconception that drinking 8 glasses of water a day is enough for healthy hydration. But sweat consists of water and sodium, which means you need water plus electrolytes to stay properly hydrated. Thankfully, there are products like Element that have all your electrolyte needs covered. You can try Element Recharge Sample Pack by going to drinkelement.com/speak for only the cost of shipping.
Oh, y'all don't know what I have to deal with off camera. Welcome to Speak for Yourself, Marcel Swiley. Yeah, I will. Mr. Emmanuel Acho over here. Looking amazing over there. I give you that. And let's get it started with the NBA playoffs. And the Lakers, not looking amazing of late, have a pivotal Game 5 tonight against the Suns. But they might be shorthanded. Reports say Anthony Davis is unlikely to play with a strain growing. And LA is hopeful KCP can go. Frank Vogel was asked if LeBron's minutes will go up without AD and said, quote, in terms of the minutes, we're going to do whatever we need to do to win this game. So, Acho, tonight a must-win game for the Lakers.
Yes.
A little thought.
Because the reason is yes is because what's the goal for the Lakers? What's the goal for LeBron James? What's the goal for Lakers fans? Not to beat the Phoenix Suns.
Oh,
that was never the goal.
No.
The goal for the Lakers, the goal for LeBron James, the goal for Lakers fans, Lakers Nation, if you will, was not to win one series. The goal for the Lakers was to win a NBA championship at a minimum. Get back there.
Okay.
If you win in the first round, we won't even clap for you. We won't even snap for you. We'll just be like, duh, you were supposed to. So is tonight a must-win game for the Lakers? Yes, because I'm calculating LeBron's long-term mileage. Colin just led into the show, Jay Adonde, talking about how LeBron James, it's not just his mileage over the course of this season, but you got to factor in his long-term mileage. If the Lakers are going to win an NBA championship, LeBron, you can't afford to play essentially an 8-game series just to get out the first round. Y'all remember they had to play a play-in game. LeBron James had to hit a step back, 35-footer from three just to qualify for the playoffs. Then after that, if you lose tonight, the series will have to go into 7. Last year, the Lakers played 5, 5, 5, 6 to win the championship. 5, 5, 5, and 6. Now, just to get out the first round, you telling me they're going to have to play 8? No. Not if they're actually going to win a NBA championship. It's a must-win, not for the sake of winning the series. I will get into how the Lakers do not need to win tonight in order to win the series. But it's all about thinking big picture. My coach once told me, don't look through the keyhole, open up the door.
Don't look through the keyhole.
Don't look through the keyhole.
How short are y'all? How were you, 5?
As far as a keyhole gives you limited vantage point.
You ain't lying.
Right, looking at this series alone is giving you limited vantage point. I'm going to open up the door and look at the entirety of the playoffs. And if I look at the entirety of the playoffs, you better win today so that you don't have to go to 7.
Okay.
So it's not imperative you go to 7 for the sake of long-term championship aspirations.
Okay. So you said yes, must win.
Yeah.
And I say no. And you know, must win. See,
I know you hate those.
God,
I know you hate them.
what happened
I read
to
the
you?
question, I know.
What dictionary did they pass out in Texas? Because where I'm from, must win means if you don't,
yes.
you know they can lose this game and still win it all.
Of course.
Right? Because there's a dual scoreboard. Let's talk about the dual scoreboard once again. One is put up points. That's the one you literally see with your eyes. Most people get lost in just that one. But there's another one, a psychological scoreboard, where the Lakers, even in losing, still can have some points on the psychological scoreboard. Why? Because they're the defending champions. You can't win on points, like they say in boxing. You got to knock the champ out, correct? So we see Phoenix go up 3-2. Then you will see that team have an 87% chance of winning it all. But there's a 13% chance they could lose it.
Yes, sir.
So that ain't must win. And then if the Lakers, perhaps, win this game, then all of a sudden you can see that they have a 35% chance of winning it all. LeBron's goal is not to just make it back, as you said. That's the Clippers' goal, just to make it. I'm a Clippers fan. Get out the first round. You talking about nobody claps. We over here clapping. We make it out the first round. I don't know where you from. But the thing about this is the Lakers statistically have so much that they can still garner in terms of confidence, even in a loss tonight. Let's talk about this. Has LeBron James ever lost a first-round series?
No, sir.
So imagine you're down 3-2, and then the king walks in. And you know he's going to walk in last for dramatic effect, and he's going to walk in with his shoes on that you got on as well, so he's just going to have your mind already locked in. And he's going to look at you and say, hey, guys, I've never been here. hey, guys, I'm not going to go there. We're not going there. We are not losing this series. Not to say that that is going to be enough of inspiration and confidence, and being frank, it's going to translate on the court. But it's not a must-win for the Lakers tonight, because even if they lose, the king going to walk in there and say something.
But, Sel, you've talked to me about this in regards to golf. And you said when you was golfing with your homeboys, or at least golfing growing up, there would be a mulligan. And the mulligan, that first swing, the ball may go any which way. And it's
from?
like...
What, mulligan? Mulligan.
You
from London there?
I never played golf. So with that being said, if the Lakers lose this one, that's it for the mulligans, big dog. Because think about it, as I look at it, if you lose this one, now you can't afford to have a bad shooting night in Game 6. You lose this one, now you know what, Caruso, you can't afford to go 0 for 4 from 3. Gasol, you can't afford to go 0 for 3 from 3.
What?
Matthews, you can't afford to go 1 for 4 from 3. Now, the next 2 games, y'all must be perfect.
Say it.
And I don't think the Lakers want to, nor do I as a Lakers fan, hold the Lakers to that expectation of perfection. That's why I'm like, yo, go ahead and get a dub. Because this time you actually have to win. Because if you don't win now, we watching the rest of the games on pins and needles. Like, at least I am.
I know.
Because I'm like, yo, LeBron, bro, if you lose, now what? Now who I got to cheer for?
Wow.
Now I got to be just an analyst through and through. Now I can't even show no favoritism. But to your point statistically, teams go up 3-2. There's a 16% chance that the team that is down 3-2 will win the series.
Yes.
But when LeBron is down 3-2, he wins the series 45% of the time. So LeBron is still a statistical anomaly. Statistically, even if the Lakers lose this game, LeBron James still has roughly a coin flip chance of winning the series, which means there is still a solid shot that he will. But the case comes back down to, Sel, at what cost? Even if they win this series and they beat the Suns, you beat Chris Paul, who's never gone to a finals, you beat Devin Booker, who's never won a playoff series, you beat DeAndre Ayton, who's never won a playoff series, we're not going to clap for that. We're not for LeBron. We're not going to clap for that. LeBron has bigger aspirations. He got bigger goals. So as far as they need to win, I think they need to win for the sake of keeping their actual goal within reach, which is winning a title.
Yeah, but let's not use as analysis. LeBron has bigger aspirations. This may be it, though. You know what I mean? Like, look, I know you got a lot of aspirations, you and Oprah. I know how y'all be talking when I ain't around. You still right here, though. You better stay here, too. Oprah, ain't nothing bigger than this, Oprah. Unless you want to put us on with you. I don't know. Here's the thing. I know the Lakers in trouble now. Boy, sometimes you just got to listen to yourself. And it's hard, you know, when you talking. And I know when I'm talking, sometimes I'm like, damn, I go back and watch the YouTube or something. I'm like, oh, I said all that. Okay. You know when you went from LeBron and you start talking about the Lakers and you said Caruso next? What? Phoenix like, come on. Then you went... When you put a bad card down, now put a good card down. No, you put Caruso down, you say, oh, watch this. Gasol. I was like, ah. And then I was like, no way. He got to have at least a little joker in their hand. Matthews, come on, bro. They gonna lose, brother. Now, if they lose, can they still win is the conversation. You know, we love our track and field analogies. Someone told me a great idea. Tell me if you support this. They say on our show, we should have a little clock right there, and it should just be elapsing until we say our first track analogy. The track timer, because they know every show we gonna go track. Man, there's times when you see someone second place drafting the entire race, not winning. You don't have to win necessarily this game to win it all. But I think the Lakers are in some dire times. Without AD, and AD came and changed the fortunes of the Lakers. A non-playoff team with LeBron and an injured LeBron turned into a championship team that now, with AD out the lineup a lot of the regular season, became a play-in team that took a 35-footer to make it to this level. And now they find themselves on life support. AD, bro, we're not giving him enough of the flowers. AD has been the difference maker for the Lakers. Well, LeBron, you're always going to be good. To be great, AD needs to be in the building and healthy.
That is true. That is true. That is true. But for me, it's this. We know that the Lakers, and you said this yesterday, I believe was slick. We know the Lakers can get through this series with just LeBron James. They can.
They can.
Will they? I think so. Exactly.
Skin of their teeth.
They can barely. But so we've talked about this. And again, to go back to a track analogy, but you can go to an analogy of life.
Okay.
If you expend so much energy just to survive a certain situation, after you get through that situation, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
And again, you can go track and field, which is very simple. Like, if you expend all your energy just to keep pace with somebody for the first several meters, assuming that race is a longer period of time, you will run out of energy and you will fold, or like your body will just be, it'll just shut down. I use it all. I use it all. I like, not even to go too serious, but I told you this. Yesterday I had a conversation, it aired, a special with one of the youngest Holocaust survivors. It was one of the most touching conversations I've ever been a part of in my life. This Holocaust survivor told me how her mom fought and she fought and she fought just to help them survive, to get through the Holocaust, get through Auschwitz. By the time they arrived in America, after a three-week boat ride past the Statue of Liberty, they arrived in America, and she said her mom passed shortly thereafter. And I said, why? What happened? And she was like, she had expended all of her energy just for me to survive.
Man.
Now, that is an incredibly true, real-world, pressing, actual story that truly happened. Her name was Tova Friedman, her mom who passed away. She was like, by the time we got to America, she expended all her energy. She was spent. Now, that's a very tangible, real analogy that can be a sports parallel to if you expend all of your energy trying to survive a certain bout. Now, that was an incredibly hyperbolic example of something very real. But if you expend all of your energy trying to survive a certain bout, you can use it in track and field. I saw it firsthand in my interview with this youngest Holocaust survivor and her mom. We can use it in regards to LeBron James. You and I can personalize it in regards to, if I expend all of my energy while sprinting, and coach gives us 10 110s to run. And on the first 5, I go all out. Them last 5, it's a beast. We have a limit that we can take mentally and physically. And I think if the Lakers have to use 8 games, just to get to play the semifinals, I think they're going to be spent. That's why, for me, it's a must-win here and now.
Okay, and I understand that. I mean, the chunk of flesh that's going to be taken out of this team.
There it is. That's a good way to say it.
The chunk of flesh, first of all, I don't even think they're going to win this bout, let alone the chunk of flesh to survive, to thrive later, and then to fall down. No, I don't. I really don't. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But let's talk about the must-win of this one right now. Why? Phoenix has confidence. They're going home. Let's be real. A one-arm CP3, a 14-point DeAndre Ayton, a 17-point Devin Booker beat the Lakers and ran them off the court. That was without AD in the second half. Now you're going to have AD gone for the entire game. What do you think is going to happen? I tell you 2 things is going to happen. LeBron's going to try and do more, and Ayton and Booker will naturally do more. Trying to do more than yourself versus just naturally returning to form, 2 different responses and taxes on the system. Let's remind people that Devin Booker was balling out of control the first 2 games, 32.5 points a game, 47% from the field. All of a sudden, games 3 and 4, they split those games, but be mindful, only 18 points average, 33%. He's going back home. He's going to go back home and normalize. So you're going to get more of an uptick from Devin Booker, more of an uptick from DeAndre Ayton, who's not going to be guarded by Anthony Davis anymore. Good Lord, throw Gasol out there if you want. Throw Drummond out there you want. Beg for Trez Harrell to not be in his feelings and come out there and give you some energy. Good luck. All of that, and CP3 is re-energized. He's rehabilitating. As healthy as he's becoming, as injured as AD is right now. Man, this is just adding up on paper, psychologically, everything in the Suns' favor. The only thing they have is the shield of the king. And say, I've never been here before, and damn it, don't y'all blemish my record.
Let's go here, because you brought up an interesting point that I'm curious on. You talked about how the Suns beat the Lakers, and the Lakers had AD even for a portion of time. I think, and there have been certain situations where I would rather start my game without my starter than lose my starter early on into my game.
Let's go.
Because if you start the game without a starter, and we've been here in preparations for football games, etc., you know preemptively how you're going to play in your attack without Anthony Davis if you're the Lakers. You know what players got to start in the starting lineup. You know how you're going to rotate. You now know how you're going to defend, and you've had 24 hours at least. They ain't had multiple days, but at least you had 24 hours to wrap your mind around this new game plan. As opposed to the Lakers losing AD halfway through, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, dang, we don't have AD, but let me still keep Drummond in the game. Wait, I can't keep Drummond in the game because now I got no scoring. Let me put Gasol in the game. Gasol, you can at least spread the court without us having AD on the floor. Wait, we might still need Trez because now we need some athleticism and we need some energy, which we can't necessarily get from Gasol, and we're not getting no energy from Drummond. But now you've had 24 hours to calculate life without AD. So now you say, you know what? Let's formulate a better game plan without AD. I think the Lakers might be better served starting this game without AD than they were the second half when you didn't have AD, but you were just thrust into the midst of the fire without your star player. So it might actually work to the Lakers' advantage.
Interesting principle you brought up. It's the founder's principle. In terms of investment, they talk about it a lot. I don't know if you've ever sat back and tried to create something, an app or just an idea to try to bring to fruition. But you get to a point where you need investment. And without that investment, you start to say, what do I do in terms of allowing people to invest in my product? So say you're the one that created the iPhone. All right, Steve Jobs, rest in peace. But it's Acho's phone. And you're sitting there stuck. And you're like, I need mass production. I need people to buy into this. And then someone says, yes, for $500 million, give me 50% of your company. And a lot of people get to that place. And this is what you're talking about. That place is this. How much do I give up? Because I'm trying to really get reliability. With AD, you don't get reliability. With AD, if he's in the starting lineup, you think you got him, but then he's out. With AD, even if I get 70% of AD, is that going to be enough versus 100% of Marcus Gasol? So what's happening is you're Frank Vogel, and you're sitting there like, damn, I could play AD right now. He's probably at 50%. That ain't enough. I'd rather take the risk of 100% of Marcus Gasol. That's the founder's principle. The founder's principle comes to play in sports because I told you what are the three greatest abilities. Everyone starts with availability. No, it's ability. Fool, you got to play and know how to play. Second one is availability. AD, and strike. And then reliability. AD, strike, and. So 100% of Gasol is going to work for y'all. But it's not going to work because he's going against 100% of DeAndre Ayton, who has the greatest ability of all. Ability. Coming up, the 49ers are supporting Jimmy Garoppolo, but we'll tell you if they should be. But first, Naomi Osaka withdrew from the French Open. We'll tell you if athletes should be forced to speak to the media. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Taxman says bills due.
Naomi Osaka withdrew from the French Open a day after being fined $15,000 for not speaking to the media following her first-round match. Osaka cited mental health as a reason for her decision not to talk to the media. Now, Pro Football Talk wrote that athletes are paid to perform and not to speak. The article added, quote, here's the reality with which reporters who crave maximum mandatory access must finally come to terms. For every athlete who refuses to speak, hundreds are happy to do so. They want to do it. They love to do it. They perceive the possibilities of getting endorsement deals and post-playing media opportunities if they are viewed as affable, charismatic, entertaining. So why force talking upon someone who doesn't want to talk? Why put them through an experience that they prefer not to experience? Like extremely long reads. So, Marcellus, boy, should we still force athletes to speak to the media?
Yes, force them. Yes, and I'm speaking from being a former professional athlete. First, let's make the distinction between can't speak to the media and doesn't want to speak to the media. Let me take you guys behind the veil, behind the ropes. I knew a lot of guys that just didn't want to do it for various reasons. Some maybe had anxiety and not properly diagnosed, but most of them just didn't feel like doing it. But when you get up there, you have to contribute to the ecosystem. You have to contribute to the financial system that is paying for all of us to survive and thrive. I remind people that you get paid the big bucks to do the things you don't want to do. They didn't pay us all that money to play on Sunday because, being real, if they would have really asked me and gave me a lie detector test, I wanted to play on Sunday. Did I want to practice on Wednesday? Nah. Did I want to go Thursday? No. Friday, kinda. Saturday, yeah. Sunday, hell yeah. And you know what that money makes me understand? That there's a partnership. And that partnership comes with obligations. So let me say it like this. It costs to be the boss. And it's okay if you don't want to be the boss. But if you do, you're going to pay the price. And in partnership, you understand that. You understand what obligation looks like. Obligations are the price that you pay for opportunities. I'm going to say it again. Obligations are the price that you pay for opportunities. We're obligated to be up here. Dog, before you got here, I did this show by myself in my backyard. I ain't there no more. Because there's an obligation to come in the studio when you can come in the studio. Not what you want to do. Do I want to fight the 405 every day? beating up traffic? Do I want to put on this suit instead of my hoodie that I wore in my backyard? But I'm in partnership. So in that partnership, I respect my partner. The world is built on our constructs, but your world is built on your choices. And I'm an absolutist in this sense. When it comes to principles and values, I have some absolute principles and values. When it comes to feelings, I'm not. You feel the way you want, but there's going to be a consequence to how you feel. So as many times as I rolled out the bed as a San Diego Charger, with my foot on fire from a surgery, limping to the bathroom, not wanting to go to practice, I did. Because I knew it costs to be the boss, and I had to pay that price. That may be going to a practice you don't want to, that may be playing in a game you're not feeling up to par, and that may be going to a podium you don't want to say anything in.
I like all that. Now, for me, I don't think athletes should be forced to, but I do think there are consequences, right? So I co-sign you on the consequences, but you got to sign your own documents when it comes down to the being forced. I don't think athletes should be forced to, because I look at it like this.
Let's go.
I would not want to force an extrovert to have to sit in solitude if they don't have to. If they recharge by being with people, I wouldn't want to force an extrovert to sit in solitude. In the same breath, I wouldn't want to force an introvert to have to stand up and talk to a whole bunch of people, peppering them with questions if they do not have to. Now, you have to play your sport if you're an athlete. It's a part of the job description.
Say it.
But some things you don't necessarily have to do. We talk about this ecosystem, but sports exist because of the athletes. They don't exist because of you and I. If you and I don't speak tomorrow,
I'm listening.
The Lakers game's still gonna go on tonight.
I'm listening.
If Colin don't do the herd tomorrow, the Lakers game's still gonna go on tonight. If Shannon and Skip don't do Undisputed tomorrow, that Lakers game is still gonna be played tonight and will still be talked about.
Now, you said sports don't exist because, say that again?
I think sports exist because of the athlete. They don't exist because of the media. The media can help make the sport more grand, but it's the athlete which is imperative to the sport for the sport to exist. So I don't think you force it upon them, because what do you gain from forcing an athlete who doesn't want to speak to speak? What did we gain from Marshawn Lynch saying, I'm just here so that I don't get fined? All we got from that was a meme. I also think, and you know this better than I because you played longer than I, for every athlete that don't want to talk on a team, there's an athlete that wants to. For every Marshawn Lynch, there was a Richard Sherman. For every Tom Brady, there's a Rob Gronkowski. For every Klay Thompson, there's a Draymond Green. You can go to every team in every locker room. For every athlete that don't want to talk, there's one that just loves to talk. Some cats just love to talk, make jokes, be the center of attention. Some would rather not. So I just don't think it's imperative to force them, because you can still get your sound bites, you can still get your quotes, you can still get the ecosystem to churn without forcing athletes to speak.
Okay. You can get it to churn, as you say, but boy, does it churn better and faster if they do speak. And we can't get into this conversation of, well, this guy wants to, but this guy doesn't want to. Because if we let the athletes elect, then the star athletes are going to have the opportunity to tap out. And who's going to tap out first? Not the introverts, the star athletes, because they are the ones being pressed with the most requests. I've been the star on my team before. Dog, woo! You're like, wait a minute, how many helmets do I sign? And then you wait, how many jerseys and how many interview requests? And I also been a bum on the team. And I'm like, I'm over here. Anybody one question for me? And listen to this, man. You think it's correlation, or you think it's coincidence that all of this uptick of media is also adding to all of this uptick in the economy and the payment and the salaries of these same players? Bruh, I grew up in that transition when Bruce Smith wasn't making over $5 million a year. I remember those days. And then I got paid, and I got paid twice as much as him in one day, one check. And I was like, I'm half as good as him. But the media was doing this, and there was a coincidence, you're saying, or correlation, causation between the media and the fan interest, and all of a sudden, look at this economy continuing to grow. So now everyone has a platform, and now all of these guys are making millions of dollars. Average Joes, we're at a place right now where a former player will take a shot at a guy who's making $200-300 million because, like, he ain't even that good. But you know why he's getting paid that much? Because this economy is that good, and it's driven by these interactions. Not necessarily on our shows. We're reacting to the sports world in general. But the beat writers, the ones who get the information, that brings it to us to articulate. That has to be a transaction based on popularity and based on production, the top dogs. So I'm looking at this situation simply as the record companies and the recording artists. You're going to promote that album. Trust me. Hey, we made this album. I'm invested into it. You invested into it. All of your talent, all of your skills, my money. It's time to hit the road. Local radio stations, it's time to hit the road. Posters. Oh, you don't want to do the photo shoot. Oh, you don't want to do the radio interviews. Oh, really? How the album going to sell? Oh, the beat's a banger. That ain't enough. Oh, the performance is great on the field. That ain't enough. Because we all know, as you know, in the entertainment business, you got to go out there and have those impressions.
So, boom, you're onto something, and I love what you're onto. I think that the consequence should very simply be the athlete's the person taking the L. Think about this. I was thinking about it. When you compare someone like Tim Duncan to someone like the late Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
On the top of our head and on the tip of our tongue, you're very quick to utter that Kobe was better. Not maybe you, not me, but the figurative person is very quick to say, oh, man, Kobe was way better than Tim Duncan.
As soon as we start.
Until you do the research.
All right.
And then you're like, wait, same amount of championships. Duncan has an extra finals MVP. Duncan has an additional regular season MVP. Duncan has one less, I believe, all-star appearance. So wait, was Kobe better than Tim Duncan actually if you look at what they accomplished on the court? Or was Kobe more known, more marketable, more spoken, more media savvy than Tim Duncan? Now, again, I brought up two characters who, based on what they achieved on the court, you can very well get into a hair-splitting conversation. But in your mind, you don't split hairs. You instantly go to Kobe was better. And you instantly go to Kobe was better because you can place Kobe in commercials. You can place Kobe in just commercials. Really, everything he did on the court, it just pivoted to you pull the jersey, commercial. The Black Mamba, commercial. Body armor, advertisement, thus commercial.
Some interviews, too.
Interviews, exactly. Being my point. Interviews, quotables, along with obviously other things. So with that being said, I'm thinking, really, the disservice was just done to Tim Duncan just because you don't really think of anything Tim Duncan ever said. You don't really think of Tim Duncan in a commercial. He wasn't as marketable. He took his L, figuratively speaking. He took his L in a lack of endorsements comparatively. He took his L in a lack of exposure comparatively. Because when you think of their difference in perceived greatness, their difference in perceived greatness was mainly a result of a media push, not what was accomplished on the court. So I think the athlete that doesn't speak, they're taking their consequence. And their consequence is a lack of exposure. Their consequence is a lack of an extra media push. I don't think we need to additionally fine them, additionally do X, Y, and Z. They're fining themselves in lack of money garnered.
Well, here's the thing, and that's all real. But you also are robbing the economy for what Kobe is contributing greater to. Because Kobe is gaining that interest. Now, Kobe's going to benefit from that as well, having this Nike deal that he had, all of the extra endorsements, et cetera. But also, Tim Duncan was making dough that the economy is partly driven by these contributions. So when it's time to eat, when it's time to sign the contracts, you all there with Kobe in the same line. But when it's time to put in on this, as I tell people all the time, that's why I don't have all these new friends. And I don't mean I can't meet somebody tomorrow and we can't be great, but I'm not seeking it because, hey, everybody shows up for the parade, but who's there to build the floats? Because you know Macy's Day Parade, whatever parade, Thanksgiving Day Parade, they building them floats next week. And then in November, December, we see the parade. So right now, hey, Duncan, you want to tap out on all this boat and float building? Go ahead. But you're going to show up when it's parade time and get your dough. Here's another thing about this, because I love that take right there. I love how you're talking about it, because it's economy-based. Here's my problem. In high school, I hated taking tests. One, and I guess you could call it anxiety if it was properly diagnosed, because everyone knew me to be so smart. I hated a test because it was going to be do or die. Is he as smart as I thought? You know, especially me. I'm going to an Ivy League school. Man, I ain't all that. But if I ain't get an A+, oh, here come the shots, correct? So here's the thing. I hate taking tests, but I took them. Even though it probably created anxiety, I took them. You know why? because I wasn't going any further if I didn't take those damn tests. I knew that it was an obligation to an opportunity. I wasn't going to Columbia. I wasn't going to college if I didn't take those tests. So here's life to all these athletes. There are tests you have to take. Not want to take, not should take, have to take, or your opportunities won't be advanced. And there will be consequences for you not taking those same tests.
I love that. Okay, let's go there. I wasn't going to use this, but you brought me to a place. You led me to the well. It's time to drink. Cell phones have vastly advanced from the late 1990s to 2021 where we exist now. We have seen a vast growth in cell phones and the usage of them. Airplanes are vastly different now than they were when I believe it was the Wright brothers who created them.
Orville Wright. Yes. I went to that
Airplanes
junior
are
high.
vastly different now than they were then.
Yes.
But the school system is relatively equivalent to still moving around in a horse and carriage. Because you still got teachers at the front of a classroom, you still got the students, you still got a chalkboard, you still got a whiteboard. When you talk about our educational system, it's very vastly outdated. The same word that Naomi used when talking about doing interviews.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think that the way in which we currently do interviews and interact with the media is still very outdated.
All right.
If one athlete would rather just talk to their sports information director, would talk to their head of PR, hey, here are the questions, answer them, I will disseminate that outwards. Or if you rather have the lead at Fox and the lead at the Four Letters and the lead at other companies and speak, but as opposed to having 50 different people asking a bunch of the same questions. I don't disagree with you that contributions should be made, but can we talk about how the contributions are made? Because you and I both know. Taking a test, it doesn't gauge how smart you are. Taking a test simply gauges how well you can repeat material. I was not the best test taker, but your boy can succeed in life. So I agree with you and I co-sign everything you said in regards to test taking, but I think that's outdated as well, just like the way in which we communicate with the media.
Oh, I like you. I like you. I actually believe in tests. Like, if you got a bad grade on test, you dumb. Like, I ain't from that school. Like, oh, you don't know how to take it.
Don't you just think that...
I know it's nothing but regurgitation.
That's it.
Yeah, but still, that's a skill.
It's a skill of memory.
It's a skill.
Isn't a skill
No, we're going to talk about the Lakers tomorrow. Watch me regurgitate. It's a good skill to have in life. Trust me. No, I'll feel you on that one. And I also feel you on, hey, Kobe, you won versus Duncan because he didn't speak. Kind of how Ray Lewis won on London Fletcher.
Yes.
And we know that meme going around where them numbers are a little closer than we thought.
Yeah, we all thought.
And we all thought. And I played against both those guys, both beasts. Here's the thing. I'll make a concession, okay? You, Naomi, everybody, I'll make a concession for you. You can do your interviews by Zoom in your room, okay? If that's what you want to do, so you can just answer all those. I'm still going to pepper you, but it's just going to stop at your phone. If you want to do that, I'm open to listening to that. Now, businessmen are already fighting me in my head and in real life saying, and nothing like that person-to-person interaction to close that deal, to have that energy between you, not some phone or some device to block that same transmission of energy. I am with those people. Here's the thing. This world can't curve to everyone's feelings, man. Like, it's already sloped. It's already rounded. We can't curve to everyone's feelings. And not wanting to do the work is not a reason to not do the work. Now, here's my greatest question, and I told Neil I wasn't going to necessarily go here, but damn it, Neil, job's on the line. No, my real thing is, because I go to a therapist, and my therapist candidly even says, a lot of people I see don't need to see me, but they don't know what they're feeling. So this is my greatest question, not to direct it at Naomi, but just people in general. What's the distinction between what you want to do and what you can't do? Because if you're talking about mental health, this is something serious. Like, we can't just start applying that label because it's back ordered, because we didn't respect it for so many generations. But now that we do respect it, or the stigma is loosening, all of a sudden we can't go from something that when I grew up, I just didn't want to do. I told you I wanted to quit football every other day, but now we're at a place where I'm gonna say, no, my mental health, when my daddy is looking at me like, nah, boy, you just don't want to go to practice today. That's my distinction. I want to make it in a lot of these cases.
Put the car in park. It's about to get good.
Oh, we going there?
Sal, because you bring up so many great points. Now, let's pivot so, one, we can stay safe and stay incubated and not be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
disrespect.
Okay. Remember my first 2 years in college, we had two-a-days. Okay? Two-a-days, old school two-a-days. Like, you putting the wet pads back on
the same
and you
ones.
practicing again. But then by my third and fourth year in college, two-a-days became too much.
Yeah.
They became outlawed in the NCAA. Yeah. You can't practice in full pads twice. You can go out there again, but you can't practice in full pads twice because they finally said, for what? We're running too big of a risk to the safety and physical health of our athletes that, sure, you could do it, and maybe a lot of athletes don't want to do it as opposed to they're physically incapable of doing it, but we finally got to a place of safety and saying, what's the point in doing two-a-days? We can survive, and the sport will survive without them. You've been there in times, and I've always said this before, you know no greater mental toughness in life than when you literally think you cannot run one other sprint and you hear the whistle blow and you run another one. And you go and you're like, I did it. But remember, we've had so many unfortunate situations across the nation with irresponsible strength coaches across big-time programs who don't take heed to their athletes who are saying, hey, coach, I can't run another one. And then what happens? Athlete ends up in the hospital or worse. And then after that happens, now all of a sudden we're like, okay. We not only need a strength coach out on the field, we need the head athletic trainer out on the field, and now we need a neutral arbiter out on the field. Because we wait for tragedy to strike to finally say, okay, athlete, we'll take you seriously. I guess you really were tired. I don't think we should wait for tragedy to strike in regards to mental health to say, okay, Naomi, I take you seriously. I guess you really couldn't do the interviews. Because what did we want to wait on? For the or worse with Naomi? For her to be admitted into some sort of mental ward, and now all of a sudden we're like, oh, sorry, Naomi, thoughts and prayers, and we're all sending praying sign emojis. Well, she already done told us. So I think we should learn from previous sports. Let's not wait for the athlete to collapse while running to take preemptive and precautionary measures. There is a very fine line.
Yes.
Because the body is capable, but the body is capable. It's the mind you have to convince. But what happens when it's the mind that's an incapable and the body now you have to convince? I think it's a fine line that I don't want to flirt with just because of life and how precious it is.
Do you know Naomi?
I do not.
You know everybody.
I do not.
I wish you did, because that take right there, put in the bottle, give it to her, even if it is a little late. Because what you said is what she should have heard through this process before this process even became public, in respecting her partners in the tennis association, because she didn't tell us. And I don't want to hold her foot to the fire necessarily, but her first layer of public consumption was she just didn't want to do the interviews. That led us to mental health issues. And now all reports go back to 2018 of her talking about this. But this is my only issue with Naomi. My only issue is, hey, you are working in connection and partnership with them. Please don't get to a place where you think they need you. Please don't get to a place where you guys have a game of chicken. Please don't get to a place where all of a sudden you're saying, well, I'm out of this one, but I'll be in the next one, or it's all based on what I want to do. Because I'm saying this as like big brother in the industry, former athlete talk. They gonna keep churning them out. This is the craziest deception that all athletes think, that they bigger than their sport, that they're bigger than their brand, or for that's brand is the sport. Here's why. We're going to root for whoever wins that French Open. And even if it's a no-name, all of a sudden they got a win on their belt. They go to U.S. Open, get another one. They go to Australia Open, get another one. They go to Wimbledon, get another. Who is this? Naomi, where are you? And Naomi has to deal with her own issues. It felt like the way it layered out instead of just concisely displayed, that it was more to it than just the mental health element. I wish you could have said that to her. My last point is this. There was times where I couldn't walk into the stadium, literally. Had to get help to get into the stadium, but I had to run for those 3 hours. I'm glad I pushed through all those moments, even though I knew there were some consequences. Coming up, Kevin Durant has been red hot in the playoffs. We'll tell you if KD has proven he's the best player in basketball, and that's next on Speak For Yourself. Thursday, pro football continues with the Spring League on FS1. Catch the Conquerors and the Alphas, battle for a chance in the championship. Hard-hitting action kicks off Thursday, 7 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Yeah, I know y'all say something else. Let's head to Brooklyn, where the Nets can close out their first-round series against the Celtics with a win tonight. Kevin Durant has been on fire, leading the league in scoring during the playoffs with nearly 35 points a game. Also shooting nearly 56% from the field and just over 45% from three. Goodness. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Jim Jackson, who will be calling tonight's Nets game. But Acho, starting with you, is Kevin Durant proving he's the best player in basketball?
No. He's not even proving he's the best player on his team.
Two box, please.
Yeah, just me and Marcel.
Yeah, right.
Talk to Jim.
No. Get rid of this dude.
No.
Get rid of Acho.
He's not. And y'all know this first and foremost. Kevin Durant and I, we graduated from, I graduated. We both went to the same alma mater.
Shot
and
one.
So,
Come on, man.
Easy money. I wasn't even throwing shade.
Yeah,
I was just saying we both went to Texas, so there's an instant love there. That's all I was saying.
That's love. I hate to see hate if that's love.
Everybody calm down.
Hey, Marcellus, some people didn't have to graduate. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
They don't need their degrees. They got that cheese. Go ahead.
But let's say this. You're right. And some people didn't have to be born in America to be proven they're the best player right now, because Giannis is the one who's doing it. 25, 15, and 8. A less talented Bucks team beat a more talented Heat team in less games than a more talented Nets team is currently dropped one to a less talented Celtics team. Now, I know I said that kind of fast, so I'm going to let y'all digest it. But sorry, ladies and gentlemen, to me, 25, 15, and 8 is vastly more impressive, and handling your business in a sweep, more impressive to me than 35, 8, and 3. See, the problem is when people talk about the best player in basketball, for whatever reason, and it's really a fault of society, it's not a fault of your own, it's not a fault of my own, we instantly go to the best scorer in basketball. But let me apologize for doing more work and not just taking the lazy approach of the best scorer. Because when I talk about the best player, can we not just talk about points that they accumulate themselves, but points they also are responsible for? Because if we do that, Kevin Durant's not even the best player on his team. Yes, Kevin Durant is responsible for 42 points. That's how many points he scores and how many he assists. But James Harden is responsible for 10 more points than Kevin Durant, a player on his own team. How many points he scores, plus how many points he assists on. So if you want to simply ask me, is Kevin Durant proving that he is the best scorer in the NBA? Yes, with Steph Curry not currently in the playoffs, I will concede Kevin Durant is proving he is the best scorer in the NBA. But ladies and gentlemen, if we all would like to be better at our jobs and just do a little bit more work and say who is the best player, then best player is also points responsible for. James Harden is responsible for more points on his own team. Giannis is responsible for more points than KD. And I again remind you all, Giannis had a better series against a better team with a less talented team than Kevin Durant is having right now. I rest my case.
Get him, Jim.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, I respect your opinion, and you are right. It's a difference between scorer and best player. I'll give you that part of it. Okay. To me, Giannis still has flaws in his game because in late game situations, in regards to putting him to the free throw line, he still has his issues with that. Now he's overcome some of that, but he still has that. And also, too, keep in mind, Ocho, that the Brooklyn Nets are not asking KD to do what they're asking James Harden to do, or what Milwaukee is asking Giannis to do, which is handle the basketball and set things up. So his assist numbers are not going to be the same because his job responsibility is not the same as those two individuals. And that's the difference between the two. If I had to pick, to me, it would be Kevin Durant, because what I can do with Kevin Durant is move him in different places on the court, which sets up other opportunities for guys to be free. And what I mean by that, he's like a chess piece. He's like Steph Curry. What makes both of those guys so tough to guard is that they can work without the ball. Giannis has to have the ball in his hand. If he's working without the ball, guess what he's doing? He's creating opportunities on the weak side of the court for his teammates to get open shots. So he may not get the direct assist by throwing the ball, but because of the activity that he has on the court, a lot like Steph, open up. There are other opportunities on the weak side of the court for his teammates to be involved and score. So we can't discount that because we don't see those numbers per se in regards to assists to make field goals for his teammates. So that's why I go with Kevin Durant from that perspective, because there's no way you can stop him, but he opens up other opportunities because you can move him around the chessboard, so to speak.
Jimmy, thanks for being nice to my dog, but still getting your points across and winning that debate so far. I know him a little better than you, Jimmy, so you know how it is with your brother. You don't give a damn. Like, we're about to fight up here. We're going to move some furniture. I don't think he's slick, Jimmy. So what he did, he tried to 8-mile us, right? He tried to hit us with the Eminem, the B-Rabbit, scoring, and try to slander that, okay, he's a scorer, he's a scorer. What else can he do? Okay, interesting. I'm going to tell you what else he could do, because even in scoring, there's other elements to you putting up buckets and affecting the game. We all know that. But there's an efficiency model that Acho doesn't want to highlight, that I would like to highlight, that a lot of ballers like Jimmy Jackson and guys that can play the game of basketball always float around in this exclusive club, this efficiency model of the 50-40-90 club. You ever heard of that, Acho?
Yeah.
You ever heard of that when you ran into Kevin Durant before he didn't graduate from UT and was on 6'3", hollering at somebody? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yo, 6'3". Yeah. I know where this hate comes from. It's always the same reasons. Money or, hey, lady. So here's the thing. There's a 50-40-90 club out there. KD don't want to be in that club. He in a 56-46-91 club. Steph Curry in that club? Nope, not even. All right, so let's talk about this situation with Kevin Durant, who's doing all this still recovering from an Achilles injury. Good Lord.
It's been 700 days. 700 days.
I had
still recovering in 700 days.
I had a torn Achilles 6 years ago, and I still limp upstairs, damn it. And I ain't no Kevin Durant. He out there stressing himself every day, putting up the highest scoring average in the playoffs. He shoots with Steph, he handles with Kyrie, and he scores and leads like LeBron. But you gonna bring up Steph. So you hear this, Jimmy. Let me help you out, Jimmy. While you brought up Steph Curry, he said Steph is better. Let me tell you why I know Steph is not better. Why I know he's not better. Because they played on the same team. And somebody won the NBA Finals MVP twice, and somebody else took the backseat and respected the 6'11" guy who could do everything he could do.
I apologize. You're gonna catch some strays right now, Jim J. You know when cats you're gonna catch some strays, big dog. Are we talking about the same Kevin Durant who has needed former MVPs on his team for his success of us now?
Steph did?
We never claimed Kevin Durant was the best player in the world until he's had other players that have won MVPs. Not been good. Not Anthony Davis. Not been good. Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, been great. But MVPs. Marcellus Wiley, Jim Jackson. Kevin Durant's greatness came when he showed up to a team that already had the best record in NBA history, already had a unanimous MVP. I apologize, Stephen Curry. I apologize, Wardell. You were not just an MVP. You were a unanimous MVP. That is on me, sir. It will not happen again. Kevin Durant was proclaimed the best player after he showed up and was partnered with a unanimous MVP. Now we talking this nonsense when Kevin Durant is on a team with James Harden, who also won an MVP more recently than KD and is responsible for more points than KD on the team that KD is playing on. Y'all, I understand that KD looks good. He's 6'11", he got handles, he can score like nobody's business. Jim J, I agree with you, big dog. Giannis got more flaws, but we all got flaws in this life. The question is, does your body of work still overcompensate for your flaws? All I'm saying is the man who has 24, 15, and 8, to me, is still more impressive than the man who has 35, 8, and 3. If Kevin Durant had 24, 15, and 8 right now, we would be shouting from the rooftops, oh my God, Kevin Durant is so selfless. Look at how he's attacking the glass. Jim J, I would hear you on the broadcast. Kevin Durant's a different beast now, y'all. I'm telling you, they can't go as far as Kevin Durant. But let Giannis do it and we just scoff at it because it's just another day in Milwaukee. I'm done.
I love how you put numbers and pieces together to expand your point. I love it because it's really good because it can kind of take you away from what's really going on. The thing I love about this, Ocho, is I love how you should be an attorney, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you, you should be an attorney because you can sell water, ice to an Eskimo. Mm-hmm. You are that good. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference to me, and I'm just saying this, is that what you're asking Kevin to do, it goes back to this, and what you're asking Giannis to do or Steph to do or James Harden is totally different. And point is, when he went to Golden State, he went there to win. Okay, he went there to win, and he proved that within that aspect that he was the best player in the finals. He proved that. Okay, with playing with Steph, he proved that. KD is a unique animal, man, in this game. And we can debate numbers all day long. You know, it's a matter of choice and a matter of preference, a matter of what you think. To me, KD is the best player because.
So I got froze up.
Oh, damn, he got froze right before. Man, Steph got, boy, you know you're praying, man. Because I was going to ask him, I was going to ask him Steph or KD, but he already said KD's the best player, so I get it. Because KD wasn't in the Hamptons begging. He was receiving the begging. When those 73-win Warriors came in collection, with their collection played out, saying, KD, please, this is all we can offer you. Please come help our team so we can get over this LeBron James hump. As KD is the only player in NBA history to average 30 or more points on that 50-40-90 split. Yes, he's in that club, exclusive club. It doesn't matter. And he's done it before. He did it in 2019 as well. KD, best player on the planet. And for those who are now thinking that he's proven that means you've been doubting him because he's already been that. Coming up, Trey Lance is the 49ers' future. Good job, Nacho. But they're still supporting Jimmy G. We'll tell you if that's a good idea. Next, speak for yourself. Maybe you made that long as it was. Watch it speak for yourself. Marcellus Wiley. Oh, you hear it, Emmanuel Acho. 100 days away till kickoff for the NFL season. Mike 51, Mike 51. Say, Acho, get over there. All right. Cowboys on the road against Super Bowl champion Bucks. Can't wait. But for now, let's head to San Francisco. Water, Mike! Where rookie Trey Lance has already been turning heads this offseason. Lance is the Niners' future. But don't forget about Jimmy Garoppolo. Reports say Jimmy GQ, quote, still has significant support in the 49ers building. And they feel like if he's in the lineup and he's healthy, we win. So, Acho, should Jimmy G still have significant support with the 49ers?
No, he shouldn't. And Sel, you know me, I'm a very kind individual. I'm not a nice individual.
Oh, there you go.
Off camera, we were discussing the difference between nice and kind.
Yes.
Being nice is to a select few individuals.
Exactly.
Being kind, Marcellus submits, is to the wide spectrum. I'm a kind individual.
You're kind?
Yes, I try to be kind. I try to be sweet to everyone.
I'm
you all
listening.
included, my dog included, even to you, Jimmy G.
Let's go.
But being kind, you cannot forsake the truth. And the truth is, unlike in life, in football, it is a zero-sum game.
Yes.
A zero-sum game very simply means if I give to one, I am taking from another. If you give to Jimmy G, you are taking from Trey Lance, your third overall pick. Sel, you've been on the football field longer than I have and clearly longer than anyone watching the show. What that means is this. You roll your ones out there versus your ones. Your first-team offense versus your first-team defense. Your second-team offense versus your second-team defense. Your third-team offense versus your third-team defense right now while you have a 90-man roster and thus you have the body. If Jimmy G gets reps versus the first-team defense, that's taking reps away from Trey Lance versus the first-team defense. Now, it's not taking reps away from Trey Lance because he still will get reps versus the second-team defense, but it's taking away reps from the first-team defense. So to significantly support Jimmy G is to not significantly support Trey Lance. To give Jimmy G more attention in breaking down the tape of him going against the first-team defense, that is to give Trey Lance less attention in breaking down the tape going against the first-team defense. To give Jimmy G is to take from Trey Lance, or better yet, because I like using words intentionally, to give to Jimmy G is to simultaneously not give to Trey Lance. And thus, Trey Lance is being robbed of something he could be given. A house divided cannot stand. You can't stand for Jimmy G while also standing for Trey Lance. You can't talk to MJ while simultaneously talking to your daughter. You can't talk to...
You don't know my daughter's name.
I know, we don't ever talk about her. I'm sorry.
What the hell? I know everybody in your family name.
She's two. She's not watching the show. you can't simultaneously do two things at once. So,
I hear you.
Yes, the 49ers... I'll rather than speaking in double negatives, the 49ers should no longer support Jimmy G, because to significantly support Jimmy G is to not significantly support Trey Lance.
Let me remix that right now. Let me get my Dr. Dre on. We both from Compton. What's up, homeboy? Hit your boy. To give to Jimmy G is not to take away from Trey Lance. To give to Jimmy G is to give the 49ers a chance. Dre, I tell you, boy, there's something in that Compton brewing, boy. Yes. And a house divided can still stand. I lived in Dallas, and it was a symmetrical house. You walk in, left side had a master bedroom, right side had a master bedroom. I had all my teammates. I don't know. It was divided, but it still stood. I don't want to hear that. Here we go. Woo! You are messed up. Nice, kind, whatever you want to do. We can get into some gangster. You don't talk about Jimmy GQ while I'm sitting here and don't have shots coming back at you. Let's start with the injury concern, because the only thing we could really slight Jimmy GQ on, seriously, is his injury issues. But I ask everyone, do you throw in the towel when you see other injured players like they're trying to throw in the towel with Jimmy GQ? Do you mortgage the farm like you did to get Trey Lance when Jimmy GQ has these injury issues? Jimmy GQ last year missed 10 games, correct? You think anybody on that team worth a damn missed more games than him? Yeah. You think they're going to throw in the towel on them? Nope. Let's talk about him. Nick Bosa, 14. Damn. Oh, he young. Okay. Nick. Jimmy GQ is young. Solomon Thomas. Yeah, they did something with that. D Ford. Richard Sherman. They all missed more games than him. But let's talk about some other players that didn't miss as many games as him, and they still ain't throwing the towel. George Kittle, you throwing in the towel? Brandon, nope. Tevin Coleman. Raheem, I'm going to mess up his last name. Mostert, okay. No towels on the ground. We ain't throwing in the towel on them, but we're going to do it for Jimmy GQ. Let me tell you why this is such a bad take for anybody who doesn't believe in Jimmy GQ. And that's why I'm glad there are people outside of this building that support Jimmy GQ in that building. Because he is playing with a coach, since I want to be kind, but not forsake the truth, as Acho says, that doesn't do it without Jimmy GQ. What's Shanahan and the 49ers win percentage with Jimmy G? 68%. What is it without him? 26%. Why would you want to damn what looks like the one reason that keeps all this standing, the house together? Jimmy GQ. 49ers just a better team with Jimmy GQ. They score more, average more yards, better third down team, and the defense gives up less points. Oh, he's a leader. Trust me, everybody see Jimmy GQ on the field, they believe. So, bruh, I got more ammo. I'm going to give you one more lap at this because right now, so far, I don't see it in you. But we're going to bring in Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings, GJ. Please support me. So, Greg, should Jimmy GQ still have significant support with the 49ers?
1,000%. What are you talking about, Acho? I should call you what Jimmy Jackson called you over here, but I'm not going to do that because you my guy. Look, man, stop acting like we've never seen a quarterback drafted in the first round get the support or not get the support as you're talking about, while having a quarterback that you're going to continue to progress with to allow that young quarterback to mature, to gain experience, to gain knowledge, to gain more understanding, to give him simply time. Like, it is not taking away from Trey Lance. As when you came into this National Football League, Acho, the number one thing that we could do when we were not on the field to learn, to absorb, was to observe. Observe what was happening while we were sidelined, period. Every opportunity you got, whether you were on the field or off it, was a chance to learn, a chance to progress, a chance to grow. That is Trey Lance right now. And the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo both win. Everyone in the locker room loves this man. That's not just coaches, it's players alike. So you have a player. Look, Marcellus talked about the winning percentage. He is a winner. I don't care what we think about him as far as can he produce, can you go and get a better quarterback? You can say all of that, but this guy had his team into the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Let's not act like he didn't get them there. Let's not act like he didn't play a role. I know everybody's going to say, oh, they were supported by their running game, but he played a huge role into that. And so when I look at this situation, it makes no sense to just turn over the keys and say, here you go, Trey Lance, when we got a guy who understands how to navigate and drive this car. He knows how everything in this vehicle works. That's Kyle Shanahan and his offense. He knows how it all functions. And when he is healthy, it works to perfection. It got them into the Super Bowl. So, Acho, they can both be supported. And if Jimmy wins, So does the 49ers, because we know he's not their long-term solution, but his trade value goes up, so they will get something on the back end if he has success.
Here's the problem. Nothing y'all are saying is incorrect.
Okay.
It's just misguided, if you will. And I'm kind, so I choose kind. G, I think that they can support Jimmy G. That's not the question here. Can they still significantly support him is the question. That word significant, DJ, is where I'm caught up on. Because as I look at it, if you significantly support one, you can't significantly support the other. You were there when Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were both on the same team, if I'm not mistaken. So you saw the Packers choose to significantly support Brett Favre. They were not significantly supporting Aaron Rodgers at the time because he wasn't getting the first-team reps with the ones. He wasn't getting the first-team reps against the first-team defense. He was probably running scout team, probably running it great, but he was running scout team. The point is, you can't significantly support both. The Packers did not significantly support Favre and Rodgers. Finally, after they went 13-3 with Favre, and they was like, you know what? We done. You know better than I. Favre is gone. Rodgers takes over as a starter. Now one is being significantly supported, and then the other is being significantly supported. But you can't significantly support both. I just think we all should come to terms with, sooner than later, and by we all, I mean you and Marcellus, because I've come to terms with it. I think we all should come to terms with the fact that it's Trey Lance's team. It's Trey Lance's team now and forever going forward in the imminent future. It's Trey Lance's team as the third pick who they traded 2 first-rounders for. Y'all can fight it, y'all can kick, and y'all can scream if you will. But it does not change the fact that it is Trey Lance's team. Support him significantly and keep it pushing.
Yeah, I disagree. It's not Trey Lance's team yet.
Right.
It will be. And everybody, including yourself and myself and Marcel, we all know it is to come. But not yet. He's not ready. They know he's not ready to date. Now, if he comes out and he goes guns blazing and he's outperforming Jimmy Garoppolo, or Jimmy Garoppolo stinks it up, yes, then you hand over the keys. Then you say, you know what? He's not staying in the lanes. He's not driving the car the way we want him to. Here you go. Here's your opportunity. We have no problem with that. However, when I was with the Green Bay Packers, and let's talk about this Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation. Aaron Rodgers knew, even though he was a first-round draft pick, this is Brett Favre's team. Trey Lance knows. Every single last one of us have been drafted. When we got to the team, we didn't think it was our team. I don't care how high you were drafted. You don't automatically think it's your team until it's handed to you.
Yes.
You go in knowing that this is their team. I'm a part of something special. Yes, do I want to be the guy? Of course. But I got to earn it, just like everything we've done. That wasn't your seat, Acho, that you're sitting in until you earned it, until you showed enough things outside of what you were doing to earn that seat. You've been doing the same thing. You've been balling till you fall for years. But now all of a sudden people see it. They had to pay attention and give you the keys when they felt like it was yours and you had earned it. You feel like all along it was mine, but you had to wait your turn. Same thing with Trey Lance.
Preaching up there, GJ. Yes, and I'm so blessed to have the experience I had in the NFL. My entire athletic career, but especially those NFL years, because I was able to ride the roller coaster. As I say, I got to touch all 4 corners of the room, being the man, being on the bubble, being the guy just fighting for it, and being a guy that was counted out or just a scrub. So it's funny. I know how coaches talk, and we all know it, the eye contact speech. Who hasn't sat there before in the team meeting room and like, look, when coach say we, he better be looking at me. And when coach say our team, he better be looking at me. Now, there were times when coach would say, hey, look, guys, we need to go. Wiley, we need to go. Like, I felt, oh, yeah, you talking to me. Trey Lance don't feel that right now. When he's saying we, he looking at Nick Bosa, he looking at Jimmy GQ, he looking at other guys. He is not looking at Trey Lance yet. When he say our team, he ain't giving that rookie that much love in this moment. You can't, because Shanahan even knows a lot of his success is tied to Jimmy G. So this question is about those who support Jimmy G, because they're saying it may be a premature play to hand the keys to Trey Lance in this moment. It's just that simple. Trey Lance, you're going to get him. But right now, chill out and take these driving lessons from Jimmy GQ. I remind people, Shanahan, one of 13 head coaches over the last 20 years, have at least 3 of his first 4 seasons, losing seasons, and only one of those 12 coaches made it to their 6th year. Hey, Shanahan, Let me help you out, big dog. You want to stay there? GBGQ in the building. Keep the keys in your pocket or his pocket, not Trey Lance, because Dr. Dre gonna write this song. What's it? To get to Jimmy G is not to rob Trey Lance. To get to Jimmy G is to give the 49ers a chance. Woo! Coming up, my Clippers and the Lakers are both facing big game 5. I'll tell you which team gives me more confidence to win the West Side. Next, don't speak for yourself. To get to Jimmy G.
Welcome back. The Lakers and Clippers are both facing pivotal game 5s. Now, the Lakers play tonight in Phoenix, giving them less rest, unfortunately. But reports say Anthony Davis is unlikely to play with a strained groin. On the other side, Marcellus' Clippers have won back-to-back games over the Mavericks. Yeah.
Oh,
but
you want to do that?
says Luka Doncic's neck strain has improved. Jim Jackson is back with us. But Marcellus, are you more confident in your Lakers or in the Clippers?
Oh, I heard
West
Clippers.
right
I heard Clippers. I got excited. My biorhythms, boy, my pulses beat. Clippers. Let me tell you why. Because our fates, our lives changed this weekend. I know everybody going into Friday's game for my Clippers were laughing at my Clippers. Look at y'all. Oh, the Lakers were just jogging in game 1, and then all of a sudden they up 2-1. You look right now, it's 2-2. You look right now for the Clippers, it's 2-2. But there are 2 scoreboards. There's the one with points, and there's the psychological scoreboard. Psychologically, we got this series. As Charles Barkley says, guaranteed, it's over. And I'm with Charles Barkley. Why are we better than the Lakers? Here's one reason. We swept them this year, 3-0 when we played them head-to-head. Why are we better than the Lakers? Because we average more points a game than the Lakers, 112 to 100. We have a better offensive rating than the Lakers. We shoot better from the 3 than the Lakers. We shoot better from the field than the Lakers. Anything else? There's no reason to have confidence in the Lakers unless you want to look back to the bubble times.
LeBron.
And then all of a sudden you gain that confidence. But LeBron without AD is a non-playoff team in LA. That's what we saw in year 1. We might see it this year, 1 and done. So yes, my confidence is with the Clippers, non-biased, of course.
LeBron without AD, a non-playoff team in year 1. What's Kawhi with PG? Because Kawhi with PG
A champ. Kawhi is the champ.
I'm more confident in the Lakers. And it's simple. The Lakers actually have the necessary ingredients to win a championship. The Clippers do not. Who am I more confident in to win their series? Opening game round 1? That's the difference. But y'all don't even have the ingredients to make what's necessary to win a chip. Fellas, if you are trying to bake some bread, yes, you can have sweetener, if you will. Yeah, you can have flour, if you will. But you know what you need to make the bread rise?
What?
Yeast. You know what you need to make a championship team rise? Leadership. And the Clippers don't have that. So, Sel, you can have all the sweetener, which is Kawhi. You can have all the flour, which is PG. You can have all the different things that you need, but y'all don't even have the major ingredient to win a chip or win the West.
What?
Which is leadership. Football, Tom Brady. Football, Patrick Mahomes. Basketball, LeBron James. Basketball, even Kyle Lowry. Basketball, Steph. For y'all's favorites, Kevin Durant. But on your Clippers team, Sal, unfortunately, y'all don't even have the ingredient to qualify y'all for this conversation. For that reason, I'm more confident in the Lakers.
First, Ocho. I said Ocho before, so I apologize on that before. And you made great points in regard. Now, I'm a little biased, too, because I covered the Clippers all year. So I got a different point of view in regards to what the Clippers can do roster-wise compared to the Lakers. Now, I'll say this. The Lakers are still the team to beat if they're healthy because they are the reigning champ.
Yes, sir.
That is true.
Yes,
now, can they win without a fully healthy AD? I don't think so. This is a different Laker team to me this year than it was last year. And the reason why, one missing ingredient, he happens to be in the other locker room, and that's Rondo. And the reason why I say that is because Rondo allowed LeBron James to play off the ball, and he gave you another playmaker. If LeBron James wasn't in the game, you still had a guy that you can count on that could make plays. You don't have that with this current Laker roster, okay? Caruso, he's going to shoot the ball, but he's not a playmaker. As good as Dennis Schroeder is, very good scorer, but he's not a playmaker. That's why you see there's a fall off in regards to continuity offensively when LeBron is out of the game, not just from a scoring perspective, but just setting guys up. Now, the thing about the Clippers, the ingredients are there. And I do agree with from a leadership perspective because your two best players are probably your quietest guy. Somebody has to be there. I think that's the big reason why they brought, along with anything else, nothing else, is they brought Rondo in to kind of be that voice when they need it because he's going to be in that lineup at the end. So I trust, to me, that both will get through. Both will get to the conference finals. And I think the Clippers have the tools of what it takes to beat the Lakers. It's not going to be easy because that's the reigning champion. You got to go through a LeBron James. If AD is not fully healthy, the edge is going to go towards the Clippers.
Simple as that, man. I don't want to beat a dead horse because the Lakers right now dying out there, probably dead without AD. I just don't see enough juice. As you broke it down eloquently, but I'm just going to say a gangster. Like without AD, no chance. It's just that simple. Acho knows that, trying to put up a good fight to the same death as the Lakers. Coming up, LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, says wait a minute, am I reading this right? White players don't want a black agent. Oh, we got to talk about that next on Speak for Yourself. What? LeBron James's agent, Rich Paul, recently told the New Yorker, quote, "It's very difficult for me to represent a white player. It just is. Look around. There's very few." Paul was asked if white players who are American don't want a black agent and went on to say, quote, "They'll never say that, but they don't. I think there's always going to be that cloud over America." So, Acho, what's your reaction to what Rich Paul said?
Man, again, you've taught me this. I live by this. Your experience is your expertise. So my reaction is I'm never going to discredit somebody's experience because it is their expertise. I also care so much about the words we choose and our word choice. I think every word in society matters, and that's why we get into such volatile disagreements because people choose the wrong words at the wrong times. I don't love that he said white players don't want a black agent because you really don't know unless you ask a white player, hey, do you want a black agent? And they say no. Well, now you know they don't want a black agent. So just because white players don't have black agents does not mean white players do not want black agents. Still, in preparation for this conversation, I asked my producer, I said, hey, big dog.
Your white one or your black one?
My white one. I asked my producer, I said, hey, big dog, I said, throw out a random country in Asia, right? And he said, Laos. I said, oh, okay, bet. I said, I've never been to Laos. And it's not that I don't want to go to Laos. I'm just not necessarily familiar with at the forefront of my mind that country, right? I want to go to Thailand. I want to go back to Hong Kong. I want to go to New Zealand. I want to go to so many other places more so than I want to go to Laos. It's not that I don't want to go to Laos. I just wasn't really thinking of it. And so when you talk about why don't white players have black agents, I can't instantly jump to, well, they don't want to have black agents, because I don't know. But I will say that maybe it's not at the forefront of their mind or the forefront of their attention. So now you have to try to dissect the why. And the why, I'll get to on my next lap.
Interesting. I like that. I like that whole agent example because since you haven't been there, since you don't participate in it, doesn't mean you have disdain for it, right? Oh, man. Okay, you said choose your words carefully, right? Well, let me choose mine carefully. I hate that he said this for many reasons. I thought it was ignorant. Let me just say it for real. And I've seen Rich Paul, and we've received awards together, et cetera, talking to him before. I don't think he's ignorant. I think this statement is ignorant. One, you never talk in absolutes. You said it. You have to ask a white player. But let's take it further. You have to ask all white players to make the statement he made, which is white players don't want a black agent, but they won't say it. So why will we even get into a conversation of asking them if you're not going to believe what they say? I don't understand why do people always think they have to talk in absolutes. Just say, I only have one white player. And this is interesting about the NBA. White American player or white European player, because they keep making that distinction. So he does have one white player, Nurkic, but he's European. So is that white American born Gordon Hayward or is it Euro? Anyway, let's talk about this. I know for a fact that there's some black agents, want to see my group chat? Some facts that some black agents are saying none of us should speak for all of us. So why would a black agent want to now make that distinction, that line of demarcation between his transactions with black players and white players? Here's why I know I didn't like this. This is when it hit me. Because sometimes things land well in your heart, but not in your mind. I know when I was growing up in the hood, stuff would land. It felt like I lived 15 minutes from Beverly Hills. It felt 15 light years away in terms of experience, right? But it's right there, you know, make a left, make a right, and you're right there on Wilshire, right? But I never did it in my entire upbringing. But let me tell you why I didn't like this. Because when I see this and I hear this, this lands well with a certain population. It's pandering. It lands well. It's like, yeah, but the brothers looking out for me, but the white players, man, they ain't feeling me. They ain't tripping on me. And I say, well, my coach used to always say, when you're calling somebody out, names and numbers. Because, Rich Paul, you have LeBron James. What white players are you talking about? In terms of, like, first of all, the cream rises to the top. You got LeBron. You're going to get the top players, correct? Of all the players, the top 50 that make money in salary, who are you talking about? Kevin Love? Porzingis, Euro, Jokic, Gordon Hayward, or Gallinari. The other 45 are black players. I mean, so first of all, what agent starts at the bottom works their way up? Second of all, you're starting at the top working your way down. There's only 5 players even in potential of names and numbers he can even be talking about. Have you had those guys on record and asked them why they didn't go with you? So on my next lap, let's talk about the hows and whys. But right now, just as a surface statement, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on the fact that you can't speak in absolutes. But now it's a matter of the whys. We know the what. The what is he says that white players don't want black agents. I disagree with the term of want because you don't know what they want and maybe a lack of exposed to.
Yeah.
From my own experience, when you select an agent, you look at their track record.
Yes.
Right? You look at the elongation of their track record. How long have they been dominant? I know that this is not just a basketball sentiment from black agents because we've seen the same sentiment from black agents in football as well. David Mulugeta, friend of the show, friend of you and I, he came out and he said that, and y'all throw the tweet up there, I, along with every other black NFL agent, only represent black players. Unlike our white counterparts, we don't have the luxury of representing the entire NFL pool of athletes. If it wasn't for black players, we wouldn't have the opportunities to be agents. Several other people co-signed following that. So I'm like, wait a second. This is actually going on amongst other black agents. So what is the why? When I came out and was picking an agent my junior year, David, who is right now the most dominant black agent in football, he was, I think, still in law school or only had Jamal Charles and Earl Thomas. David graduated from Texas undergrad, graduated from Nebraska Law School. He only had Jamal Charles and Earl Thomas. So when I'm looking at a track record, I'm like, oh, big dog, you haven't done anything yet as far as you got Jamal, you got Earl, but they hadn't gotten those huge deals, which David went on to negotiate. David now Forbes' top agent in the game. So I'm looking at a track record, Sel, and realistically, the first white agent in football, 1925. First black agent in football, 1969. You're talking about a 44-year gap as far as agency. So the track record that black agents even are allowed to have just based on the existence of black people being agents is a much shorter runway. Shout out to David Mulugeta. Shout out to Nicole Lynn. But I think the why is when the gatekeepers of agencies, because it's not the 19 and 20-year-old kids, by the way, for the most part. It's your coach, your mentor, your parent, along with your input. But the gatekeepers of who is going to audition you to be your agent, I think they're looking like, well, when we look at Elise Steinberg, who had Troy Aikman,
that's my former agent,
Tony Romo, who had Bruce Smith, and thus had Marcellus Wiley, that track record is much longer just based off what has been allowable in this country than the track record of black agents. So for me, I examine the why, and that is the why I stumble upon.
Interesting. All right, let's go to the why that I stumble upon, because before we get into fully all of this, oh, man. Can anybody help explain Bill Duffy, NBA agent, brother, multiple white clients? Ooh. Della Vadova, Luka, Doncic. I see 4 at least on there. Kaminsky. Point being, that's why you don't talk in absolutes. And I know Bill Duffy, let me use Rich Paul's way of talking. I know Bill Duffy wouldn't say this if I asked him, but he like, dog, it ain't that hard to get a white player. But you know what's interesting? What's your focus? Is your focus being an agent, representing your client? Is your focus just contracts? Or is your focus also curing societal ills? Because we know also, talking about David Mulugeta and many of these other agents, they feel that there's a burden for them to do more than just represent their clients in negotiations. that comes with smoke. Like Rich Paul right now. This is not a contract negotiation conversation. This is about him talking about societal issues, which some players, black and white, are sitting there saying, dog, I just want to agent. And that doesn't mean that white agents don't want to cure their own societal ills, but they're not going to be as outspoken and absolute, at least I haven't seen it on record, as what we just heard right now from Rich Paul. Interesting. So this is my experience. Black agents recruited me and white agents recruited me. I went with the Ivy League, former kind of smaller shop, Brad Blank, who actually had a lot of big clients, including Herman Moore at the time, who was a superstar. But for me, I just went with familiarity. Like, he went to Columbia, he went to Brown, everybody, he was the first one that came at me when I was a no-name, so he won. Here's the thing. You know this as a black player, and when we get recruited, and this is my only issue with, and I hate to generalize, but I have to, when a black agent comes at you, they play that black card to open the door. Like, wink, wink, stay with me, work with me, you know, brothers, we got to stick together. But then they get in the door, and then all of a sudden, you want to play the We Are the World equality card to try and get the white players. You think the white players didn't see you walk in that door trying to wink, wink, and trying to say, brother, let's go in here together? And that's why I think if you really want to break down the constructs of why it's difficult to cross over, it's because you're not being sincere and genuine. And every player sees it. We are naturally recruited from junior high, high school, college. We know the game. So in situations like this, I just hate the absolutes that I'm here. It's an incredulous statement that he just made right there. It's nothing I just can't believe and buy into.
The only reason I won't go that far is because I think the truth is found in what you said. You went with, what was the name of the original agent you went with?
Bill Duffy?
You went with, no, who you signed with.
Oh, Brad Blank?
Brad Blank. And over the course of what you were talking about, you said, I went with familiarity, close quote.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens a lot of times.
Facts.
I think black players go with familiarity, black agents. I think white players go with familiarity, white agents. And I think white players don't end up having black agents because they do what we all do in life. They went with familiarity. Now, the real question is, how can we start to break that trend of just going with familiarity and going with the best? That's not something you can solve just in sports. That's something we also
I got to say this, too. It's too few white players in the NBA in the first place. And fewer of them make money. Who the hell you talking about, Rich Paul? Like just being real about this. You talking about fishing where there ain't no fish. Like, it's 70% black. Then if you want to include the Euro players, we're into the 90th percentile before we even got to white American players. So come on, man, this lands well, but it's not intentional. It has no true bullseye because there's so few. And then of those few who make the money that Rich Paul's going to command, top dog LeBron James agent, come on, man. Keep it 100. Coming up, Kyrie Irving is catching heat from former Celtics for stomping on Boston's logo. Ooh, we'll tell you if it's too much heat. Next, don't speak for yourself.
Kyrie Irving made headlines recently when a fan appeared to throw a water bottle at him. But before that, he walked to midcourt after the game and stomped on the Celtics logo. This fired up former Celtics, including Glenn Big Baby Davis, I guess is actually his nickname, who appeared to threaten Kyrie, posting, quote, keep that bleep basketball before somebody gets hurt in real life. Now, Hall of Famer Kevin Garnett posted, quote, so nobody's going to say anything about how Kyrie's stomping on Lucky, the logo. We're just going to act like we didn't see that. What the bleep is going on? You can't do that. That's not cool on no level. All of us need to be better. I'm just saying. So, Marcellus, is Kyrie taking too much heat for the logo stomp?
Yeah, if he is taking heat, I don't know what temperature that is. Room temperature. I mean, this ain't nothing. First of all, I hate to be the guy that laughs at you when you want to beef over something, but I'm laughing at you. And don't you take no shots at Big Baby. Big Baby, my homeboy / former neighbor. But yeah, Big Baby, calm down. And whoever else is on this is ambassador talk. See, us former athletes who still ain't good with the organizations and got our brands associated with these teams will go out there and say things like this. And I want y'all to know that in reality, this ain't about nothing. This is laughable. It's not even a real thing. All y'all out there who's trying to get into these codes. Look, Acho, put me and Acho on the screen right now so I can disrespect him and see what he do. What's this you said?
That's the hook 'em sign, but flip it.
Flip it?
Yeah, there it is.
That's it? What's that mean? I dare you to do something. I just stomped on your Lucky. You ain't gonna do nothing, because I'm from the land where they really banged, homie, and I thought that was silly. But that was life or death. So you know what? When I see this, silly, but not life or death, I have no respect for it. So stop. They tipped the ball off on Lucky's head. They do a lot on Lucky. And now you're going to get mad at the end of the game because he stepped on him one more time? Get real. I'm sorry.
I co-sign that. I mean, is it disrespectful to those who used to be a part of the organization? Yes. Kind of like putting the horns down is disrespectful if you went to Texas.
You okay? We still friends?
But at the end of the day, like, stop. It's a logo. It's a logo. Logo ain't got no heartbeat. And my coach always told me, don't let anything without a heartbeat beat you. So, yeah, Kyrie stepped on a logo, but to your point, I would love to see how many times do people step on that logo throughout the course of the game. Now, was Kyrie's intentional and intentionally disrespectful? Maybe. But we're not going to act like Kyrie didn't contribute more than the majority of people who have an opinion to the Boston Celtics.
Ooh.
Let's be real now. So when I look at it, to me, again, I co-sign what you're saying. It's shenanigans. Is Kyrie taking too much heat for this? If you want to call it heat.
What's this?
That's the Florida chomp, I think.
Get out of here. I'll bite your gator, too.
Coming up, should Patrick Mahomes be scared of Aaron Rodgers joining the AFC West? We going to answer that one next. Speak for yourself.
Yeah, it's me. Aaron Rodgers is still on the Packers roster, but trade rumors have been floating around that he could head to Denver. Broncos play the Chiefs twice a year. When asked about the possibility of facing Rodgers in the same division, Patrick Mahomes said, quote, "It would just make it a little tougher for us. We're up for the challenge." So, Acho, should Patrick Mahomes be scared of Rodgers joining the AFC West?
He should definitely be concerned, big dog. Patrick Mahomes is 16-2 versus the AFC West, so he's got his hand all over the AFC West in full control. When you talk about joining the AFC West, Rodgers would obviously either be joining the Raiders, but more than likely the Broncos. Patrick Mahomes, 7-0 versus the Broncos. So, when you already have something completely in control and something could come disrupt that control, something could come disrupt the autonomy of that situation, yes, he should be concerned. Furthermore, Patrick Mahomes' biggest nemesis thus far in the NFL is Tom Brady. He's 2-3 versus Tom Brady and 0-2 versus Tom Brady in the playoffs. Tom Brady's dealt him his 2 playoff losses. The only current equivalent to Tom Brady in the NFL as far as age plus accomplishments is Aaron Rodgers. We've seen what Tom Brady does to Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers could pose a similar threat if he were to join the West.
Interesting. As I look at my Google and I look at my notes, oh, yeah, they on the same page right now. What you scared of? Nothing to be scared of. I know Aaron Rodgers is great. This is not a shot at Aaron Rodgers. This is a shot at what you guys have put up in terms of body of work and resume. When you had your better regular season record, did you win the Super Bowl? Kind of like Golden State. No, you didn't. When you took some hits, iron sharpens iron, you went through a few things on the road to the Super Bowl, you actually performed better in that same Super Bowl. 14-1 last year. I don't know. False sense of confidence. I don't know. A little arrogant. I don't know. But they didn't make the proper decisions and the proper edits when presented with different information. We analyzed the road to the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. You were talking about how many points they're going to score, and I was like, yeah, they're going to score over 30. They did not. They didn't even score a touchdown. But more importantly, what we also started to analyze is like, look, this is how teams are playing the Chiefs. But because they didn't make those decisions, they didn't make those edits, they walked into a situation where they weren't as sharp as they should have been. Obviously, they had some injuries. Obviously, nothing's perfect. But wow, if you went through a little more before you got to the moment of truth, maybe you could handle that movement a little better. Coming up, the Lakers and Suns have a huge Game 5 tonight. We're giving our picks. That's next. Let's go. Pick yourself. Get out of here.
The Lakers have a big Game 5 matchup against the Suns tonight, but reports say Anthony Davis is unlikely to play with a strained groin. On the positive side, LeBron has never gone down 3-2 in a first-round playoff series. That's that king talk. So, Marcellus, who wins Game 5 tonight, the Lakers or the Suns?
It's the Suns. Look, LeBron James is not going to make up for the absence of Anthony Davis. The collective team can't make up for that absence. AD was coming off of 34-point games back-to-back and 10-plus rebound games in those consecutive wins. What you going to do now? Who's going to make up that gap? I don't see it on the Lakers.
I'm hopeful that it is the Lakers. I think that it will be the Lakers. Here's what I won't do, Sal. I spent all football season doubting Tom Brady. Doubting you and your Tom Brady take. Doubting his greatness, as if I hadn't seen him win 6 prior Super Bowls. As if I hadn't seen him go to 9 prior Super Bowls. I spent that whole football season doubting Brady. I'm not making the same mistake. Okay. LeBron has gone to 9 out of 10 chips. Players have been hurt before. Kevin Love has gotten hurt when he was with the Cavs. Kyrie Irving got hurt when he was with the Cavs. Dwayne Wade missed significant time when he was with the Heat. LeBron James has missed superstars before and still led his team further. He'll find a way to win.
DeAndre Ayton is the only player in the last 53 years to average 19 and 13 while shooting 80%. And that's when Anthony was guarding him. He gone. That's it for us. Fox Bet Live's next. Wrap.